Hey, it's Sela Social Studies.
Hey, welcome to Sela's Social Studies. Today we're going to be talking about early numbers of World War II. We're going to be talking about early causes of World War II. We're going to be talking about what started World War II, who the main players are in World War II. So here we go. Causes of World War II, 1939 to 1945. World War II was definitely the most deadly war in the history of the world. There were over 70 million casualties, with about half of those casualties being Russian alone. So what was going on? Why does World War II start? Well, World War II starts because the world is suffering from a depression. That's not the main reason, but that definitely doesn't help the cause of not having a world war. European nations are in debt. Germany's still in debt from World War I, using American funds to try to pay off their reparations. The United States is in a Great Depression. Europe is in a depression. So the whole world is kind of suffering right now. So it's very easy for somebody to come along to get a mass following of people to rise up against somebody else. And you'll see about that in a couple of seconds. World War II actually gets the United States out of the Great Depression. The War Production Board actually puts a lot of these businesses, forcing them to go ahead and make war supplies. And we wind up lending and leasing all these war supplies that will actually get us out of the Great Depression. So we have to go back and find out like the actual, the birth of World War II. And here it is, the Treaty of Versailles. If you remember correctly, the Treaty of Versailles ended World War I. It left Germany with the $33 billion in reparations. It's about $440 billion today. And I believe they just finished paying it off in 2010. Germany was forced to take the blame for World War I. Their army was reduced to a glorified police force. They lost many land holdings that they imperialized during World War I. World War I destroyed the European landscape, so a lot of European nations wanted Germany to pay for World War I. But Germany is not necessarily the first person to do anything after World War I to start World War II. That title goes to this man right here, Benito Mussolini. In 1919, Mussolini created the Fascist Party. And in the Fascist Party, the idea is that the nation is above the individual and everything is good for the government. Italy was they were one of the weaker European nations. They wanted to have a stronger European nation. Mussolini started these small armies called the Black Shirts that went around and forced the Fascist Party to become part of the Italian government coalition. In 1922 is when the Fascist Party enters that coalition. And by 1925, Benito Mussolini names himself dictator, or Il Duce, of Italy. So now he has put himself in charge of Italy. He wants to transform Italy into that powerful European nation that I said, and he will go on to help Nazi Germany in World War II. So Mussolini is the first of these dictators to really rise to power in Europe. Next, we're going to talk about Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was a World War I veteran in the German army. After World War I was over, he loved the German army. He wanted to stay in the German army. He wanted things to do in the German army. However, the German army was like, we don't want you. So begging for work, one of his commanders actually tells him in 1919 to go spy and infiltrate on this National Socialist German Workers' Party. They were getting kind of worried about what this Workers' Party was doing. Instead of going in there infiltrating and reporting back to his commander, Adolf Hitler goes in and joins the National Socialist German Workers' Party, which actually winds up becoming later on the Nazis. By 1920, Hitler, because of his great speaking and his charismatic speakings, he winds up getting put in charge of propaganda department of the Socialist Workers Party, and in 1921, by a almost unanimous vote, he becomes the Führer of the Nazi Party, and from there on out, he names himself dictator in 1945 until his death. The Nazi Party will lead under a totalitarian type of government. Okay, the totalitarian type of government basically means that the Nazi Party will rule and control everything for the good of the country, even the lives of the citizens, and that's usually through fear. Okay, that's definitely how Hitler does it. He does it through fear. Remember, Hitler becomes the dictator. So now he's the second dictator in Europe. You have Mussolini of Italy and now Hitler of Germany. So you're going to start having these issues. So what really fueled Hitler's idea of trying to bring German nationalism back? All right, he felt that Germany had a proud heritage and he wanted to bring it back. So he creates this plan. And this plan was that he felt that Germany was treated unfairly through the Treaty of Versailles. He wanted to lead this totalitarian government, wanted Lebensraum, which is land for Germans to live. He wanted a pure Aryan race, and he wanted to eradicate the Jewish population. And now we're going to talk about the first scenarios, the first type of aggression. And what aggression is, it's like the first warlike act by one country to another without just cause. That's what aggression is. They're going to go ahead and go out there and do something to another country. And in 1935, Italy occupied Ethiopia. That's the first type of aggression on another country. So Italy goes out there and occupies Ethiopia, and despite the pleas from the leader Haile Selassie to the League of Nations, the League of Nations actually refuses to act. They don't want to act because they're afraid it might lead to another world war. Well, Hitler sees this, and remember, he's a dictator now, and he go ahead and in 1938, he occupies the Rhineland in Germany. And what that is that's that area that's circled on your map right there. That's the area that divides Germany and Belgium and France. So now the Nazi army, growing bigger, occupies this land, and that's something that they weren't allowed to do after the Treaty of Versailles. So what do they do in response? Well, in October 1938, representatives from Germany, France, Britain, and Italy meet in Munich, Germany, in the Munich Conference. And what the Munich Conference is the guy on the left, his name is Neville Chamberlain. He's the Prime Minister of Britain. He meets there, Hitler meets there, Mussolini meets there, and so does Edouard Daladier of France. Now, what the plan is they have to figure out what to do with Germany and Italy occupying lands. So that's what it is. They meet at this conference to try to figure out what to do. So Britain and France agree to let Germany occupy the Sudetenland, which is that circled area down there, which is to the western part of Czechoslovakia. So Chamberlain says, hey, you know what? Let's give in to Hitler's demands to avoid another war. This is called appeasement. They were like, if we just tell Hitler he can take the Rhineland, which he did. If we tell Hitler he can have the Sudetenland, which he did. If Hitler promises not to invade any other lands, he can have those and we won't go to war. So Chamberlain returns to Britain like a hero, saying that he averted another war and everything was great. Well, there's one thing in history that you can know: never trust Adolf Hitler. So Hitler lied, invaded and occupied all of Czechoslovakia. Again, Britain and France did nothing, all while Russia and Germany signed a non-aggression pact. So the start of World War II. What starts World War II? Well, in September 1st, 1939, German troops invade Poland. That is the immediate cause of World War II. Once those Nazi troops invade Poland, that's it. Germany uses a type of blitzkrieg warfare, lightning warfare. Well, there was a coordinated military effort of tanks, infantry, artillery, and aircraft to just overwhelm the opposition. September 3rd, 1939, Britain and France declare war on Germany. So who are our powers at the beginning of the war? You have the Allied powers, who are Britain and France. Russia and the United States don't enter until 1941. And the Axis powers of 1940 now, they're going to be Germany, Italy, and Japan.